All right, and now because we could all just use a few more laughs these days, here's a look at how some celebrities are encouraging people to stay home and stay healthy.
Hi, I'm Max Brooks. I'm 47 years old. This is my dad, Mel Brooks. Hi, Dad. He's 93. If I get the coronavirus, I'll probably be okay. But if I give it to him, he could give it to Carl Reiner, who could give it to Dick Van Dyke. And before I know it, I've wiped out a whole generation of comedic legends. Do your part. Don't be a spreader. Right, Dad? I'm going. Love you.
We just saw a Hollywood van star tour. Makes me so angry. What do you guys want to see right now? Shoved in a van with random people sitting close, staring at people in LA? Like, go home. We're in a pandemic. Go home.
Come on. See, the important thing is that you stay at home because there's a curfew now. Okay, no one is allowed out, especially someone that is like 72 years old. After you're 65, you're not allowed at the house anymore in California, so we stay home and we eat here, right?
Are you ready? We got 20 seconds. How's it go? Do you know it?
Me and Mariah go back like babies and pacifier.
But it's just the price I pay. Destiny is calling me. Open up my eager eyes, 'cause I'm Mr. Brightside.
I'm on white man, 'cause 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 I'm on white man.
I don't know I didn't see COVID 1 through 18, so I don't really know what this is all about. Folks, make sure to tip your food delivery people, but don't touch them.
It is a really, really big deal right now, and it's not a joke. I know because a lot of us haven't seen it with our eyes. Don't panic, but don't be an idiot. Because, yeah, you could get it and you could be fine, but you could give it to your parents, you could give it to your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, your friend's mom, it's not about you.
What is it like to try to provide the services you do when there is an invisible and currently largely undetectable pandemic moving through the population?
So there's already an underlying crisis of homelessness in California, in San Francisco, and it's a crisis that it's persistent and challenging and hard to deal with on its own. When you layer on top of that the coronavirus and its potential to harm the most vulnerable among us, we're really looking at a potential catastrophe in the Bay Area. They're also more likely to experience that. They're close quarters. They're living with a lack of hygiene and sanitation at their disposal. They have all sorts of vulnerabilities that make them more likely to both contract, suffer from, and transmit the virus. GLIDE is an organization that is and always has been committed to serving the most vulnerable. So we're doing everything that we can to keep our essential services flowing. But what we're able to do is continue to serve thousands of people every day, from meals, 3 meals a day. We're providing shelter reservations, helping people get into shelter and housing. We've been providing early childhood education and support for a lot of the families in our community. We do harm reduction. So we've got a lot of services that are still going, and we're trying to manage it with a skeleton crew. We're trying to create social distancing in our lines. People are lined up for all sorts of services.
That must be so hard. It must be so difficult to articulate to somebody, I know you're really hungry. I know this is the thing you're looking forward to. You're not going to lose your place in line, but I need you to not crowd together in the way you normally do.
Absolutely. It's a challenge. It's also, if people start getting sick, they're going to need a whole range of services that we can't provide. Even when we're up and running fully, we just can't handle 20,000 homeless people who are struggling with this virus.
But, even if you do everything right during a quarantine, 14 days or longer, you might end up getting cabin fever. Psychotherapist Sherry Botwin is here to talk to us about how to stay sane during that time period. Sherry, thank you for being with us. Give us some tips on how you can deal. Give us some tips on how you can deal with cabin fever.
The best thing to do is just to, first of all, know this will end. And in terms of the cabin fever, give yourself breaks. Get out of your house. Sit on your front step. Take your yoga mat outside and do some yoga. Go into a quiet room and listen to a book. Anything to know that you're not just literally stuck in your house.
So getting that fresh air, getting out about, getting some sunshine, that can be really helpful to getting that cabin fever under control.
Yeah, definitely. And even just remembering there's a whole world out there to really try to connect with the environment and our beautiful universe and know that we really will get through this. We are not going to be stuck in our homes forever.
And for parents who have school-aged children, they're not their kid's teacher, but now they're being asked to administer work that's sent home by the schools. How can they get their kids to do that? It might not be an easy battle.
You know what? The one thing I'm reminding myself is that I can't go from being my little guy's parent to his teacher. So I say to myself, what can I do to support him in doing his work without trying to be his teacher? So one of the thoughts that I had was, get one of the students from the class on the phone. Do a FaceTime study group. I know tomorrow I'm planning a 10 o'clock online school with one of my little guy's best friends, and they're excited about it. We need to make it fun, and we need to know it's not going to be perfect, and we're going to do the best we can. But really what matters the most is that we stay safe and that we stay happy. We can't let this put us under the edge, or over the edge, I should say.
I agree with you, but a different issue might be if you're living with someone who has OCD or anxiety already, how can you make it a little easier for them? Because I can only imagine that anxiety and OCD is going to be exacerbated during this time period.
I mean, I've been talking to patients all week struggling with all these different kinds of issues. And if you live with someone who's in recovery from depression or struggles with anxiety, and they're thinking, well, how am I going to get to my therapist's office, or how am I going to get my medication? Again, we can't be our partner's therapist, but we can be a support system. We can check in with them. How's it going? Are you talking to your therapist? I know most therapists are still conducting sessions via telemedicine, so they can still be in treatment. And I think just to reassure them, it is a really hard time. And if you are struggling more, it is okay. I'm not going to judge you. I'm here for you. And I also think as a family member, if you're really worried about your loved one, if you're thinking he or she is really not doing well, reach out to the person's psychiatrist, call the therapist, tell them, say, I'm really worried about my husband or wife. What do I do?
Just try and help out as much as you can and keep those social connections going as well as you can. How about dating, real quickly? We don't have much time, but what can you do for dating?
So I was talking to somebody yesterday whose boyfriend is far away, and I said, have you thought about scheduling a FaceTime date? Why don't you schedule a FaceTime dinner date? Tomorrow at 6 o'clock, you and we're going to have a FaceTime dinner date. And do the best you can. Talk about things that really matter. Remind each other how much you love each other, what you feel about each other, and try to have some fun with it. Put on romantic music.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. You've given us some fantastic ideas on what we can do to avoid that cabin fever and to help our kids out and help ourselves out, too. So I appreciate it, and thank you very much.